sipurei masios, the 8th story. The rabbi's son. The rabbi and the only son. Once there was a rabbi who did not have any children. Finally, he had an only son. He raised him and married him off. The son would sit in an upstairs room and study, as was customary with the wealthy. He would constantly study and pray. However, he felt that something was lacking, although he did not know what. Somehow, he did not feel any inspiration in his study or prayer. When he confided this to two of his friends, they advised him that he visit a certain tzaddik. This young man had done a good deed that had caused him to become an aspect of the lesser light, the moon. The only son told his father that he did not feel any inspiration in his religious devotion. Since he felt a lack and did not know what it was, he wanted to visit this tzaddik. This young man had done a good deed that had caused him to become an aspect of the lesser light. The only son told his father that he did not feel any inspiration in his religious devotion. Since he felt a lack and did not know what it was, he wanted to visit the tzaddik. Why should you go to him? replied the father. You are a more accomplished scholar than he is. Your family background is better than his. It is not at all fitting that you go to him. Give up this idea. The father continued in this manner until he stopped his son from going. The young man returned to his studies, but he felt this lack again. This time he also sought advice from his two friends, and again they advised him to visit the tzaddik. Again he went to his father, and his father dissuaded him and prevented him from going. This happened a number of times. The son continued to feel this lack, and he had a great yearning to fill it, not knowing what it was. This time he came to his father and kept on urging him until his father was forced to go with him. He did not want his son to travel alone since he was an only son. "See," said the father, "I'm going with you." "See," said the father, "I'm even going with you. I will show you that there is nothing to the tzaddik." With that, they harnessed the carriage and set off. "I will make a test," declared the father. "If everything goes smoothly, then it is from heaven. If not, then it is not from heaven, and we will return home." They continued traveling until they came to a small bridge. One horse slipped and the carriage turned over, so that they almost drowned. "See," said the father, "things did not go smoothly. This journey is not approved by heaven." With that, they returned home. The son returned to his studies. Again he recognized something missing in himself, even though he could not pinpoint exactly what it was. He urged his father, and his father went with him again. While they were traveling, his father made a test, as he had done the first time, that if everything went smoothly, they would know that it was God's will. As they were proceeding, both of the carriage's axles broke. His father said, "See, we are being directed not to continue. Is it natural for both axles to break at the same time? We have ridden in this carriage many times before, and nothing like this has ever happened." Again they returned home. The son went back to his old study habits, but he felt the same lack again. His friends advised him to make the pilgrimage. He went to his father and urged him as before, and he had to go with him again. The son said that they should not make a test as before. It was natural that a horse should occasionally fall, or that an axle should break. This time, they would continue unless the sign was very obvious. They traveled until they came to an inn to rest. They encountered a merchant. They began to converse with him, as merchants do, not telling him where they were going. The rabbi was ashamed to admit that he was going to the tzaddik. They continued to discuss worldly affairs until the conversation began to touch upon tzaddikim and where they can be found. The merchant told the rabbi about a tzaddik in a certain place. The merchant told the rabbi about a tzaddik in a certain place and others elsewhere, and they began to discuss the tzaddik to whom they were traveling. "Him? But he is worthless." Kal in Hebrew. Light, a light person. "But he is worthless," said the merchant. "I am coming from him now. I was there when he committed a sin." "My son," said the rabbi, "don't you see what this merchant is telling us in all innocence? And he has just come from there." With that, they went home. Soon afterward, the son died. Then he came to his father, the rabbi, in a dream, appearing in great anger. His father asked him why he was so angry. "Go to the tzaddik that I wanted to visit," replied the son, "and he will tell you why I am angry." When the father woke up, he said it was merely a chance occurrence. When he had the same dream again, he still said that it was a meaningless dream. However, when this happened a third time, he realized that it was significant, so he set out toward the tzaddik. On the way, he met the merchant whom he had encountered while traveling with his son. He recognized him and said, "Aren't you the one I met in the inn?" "You certainly did see me," replied the other. Then he opened his mouth and said, "If you want, I will swallow you." "What are you saying?" asked the rabbi. "What are you saying?" asked the rabbi. "Do you remember," replied the merchant, "when you were traveling with your son, first the horse slipped on the bridge, and you turned back, then the axles broke. Finally you met me, and I told you that the tzaddik was worthless. Since I put your son aside, you may now make the journey. Your son was an aspect of the lesser light. The tzaddik was an aspect of the greater light. If the two had come together, the Messiah Mashiach would have come. But now that I caused him to die, you may make the pilgrimage." While speaking, the merchant vanished. The rabbi did not have anyone with whom to speak. When the rabbi finally got to the tzaddik, while speaking, the merchant vanished. The rabbi did not have anyone with whom to speak. When the rabbi finally got to the tzaddik, he screamed, "Woe, woe! Chaval, chaval, gevald, gevald! Woe is to those who are lost and can no longer be found. May God return our lost ones. Amen." The merchant in this story was the evil one himself. He had disguised himself as a merchant in order to fool the rabbi. When he met the rabbi a second time, he tormented him for taking his advice. This is his way, as is known. May God only protect us. The Yiddish adds, "For he urges on the person, but if the person follows him, heaven forbid, he himself provokes and punishes the person for listening to him. It is taught the evil urge, the Satan, and the angel of death are all the same."